So now, in terms of setup, the one on the right-hand side for me, we can't see how much tilted over you are because obviously we're not looking kind of from that direction. However, the fact your head's kind of more down this way, where this one looks a bit sort of like chest up and a bit too upright, kind of gives an indication that you are more over the ball in this one on the right-hand side, okay? But the swing thought we were talking about, okay, is making sure we get that L position going back. If you look here now, you can see automatically about there, that left arm now is starting to bend and collapse, and from here now there's a big hinge in the elbow, and if you look at your shoulders, there's not really much movement there to the torso, it's just arms and elbows, yeah. So the only way for that club to kind of get up here is just to complete the swing by doing that, okay. What we want to try and do is push that club away with that left arm and left chest. It's all kind of coming from this area here, like sort of trying to pushing that club away. Now, not locking your arms, like any tension in your hands. We want to be nice and loose as we discussed, okay. Gripping the club in the fingers will get the security. We're just nice and relaxed with those thumbs. Any squeeze with the grip, tension in your body means you can't work it, okay. So as the club goes back now, we sort of go to a similar kind of position as we go through. You can see now the arms pushing away much better.
Still binding a little bit.
That's fine. That's fine. Yes. That's, to be fair, that progression there is pretty good compared to what that was there. Okay. I've seen people who have had left arms bending. If I put a yellow line on them from there to there, they literally go kind of there. It's such a small change. I'm doing massive. So that's not too bad. Now it will slightly collapse as you start going up, but at least from here, if we continue this swing on, how much further that club is away from your head, you're kind of maintaining that distance you started with, okay? As you keep going back here now. Now it does collapse a little bit as we get to back here, but that position there, in comparison to that one there, even as a non-golfer, if I said which is the most powerful, you can see this one, it's got a bit more sort of oomph to it kind of thing. You've turned a bit better, you've rotated your torso and your shoulders, okay? You're in a position now where you can return that club back to the golf ball with some speed.
Typically it needs to end up straight here, right?
Well, what we would generally see, and it depends really on your range of motion. Now, most people, if I'm honest, aren't going to get the golf club into what we call sort of horizontal position up here because they haven't got the range of motion either in their chest or their torso or their shoulder or their rotator cuff. If your shoulders can only rotate through that angle there, which is about kind of where they are, if we could get your left arm kind of up here, we'd expect the club to be kind of somewhere there.
Right.
Okay? That would be kind of the normal position, okay? The moment, what I would practice on, as I said, and you can do it without even a golf club in your hand, they're just holding any object that sort of has something kind of in your hand, whether it's a pen, frying pan, whatever, it's sort of not too big to hold, obviously, and all you're trying to create is that L position. So when your hands are chest high, that's the club position we're going to try and get. To be fair, you're not far away. If we compare it to where you were kind of there, the club's kind of way over there.
Yeah, but that's without any knowledge.
Precisely, and that's why 100%. And that's why I say to you, it's a very good progression. I mean, you always go, the arm's bending. I'm thinking, well, hang on a second, that's been a really good transition there from what you were to what you're getting to, and that's sort of the piece of the jigsaw, bit by bit, getting from that to that. And that's why I always say to people, just hit some golf balls. We can look at what the one fault is that we need to change, and that'll be the one fault. Now, obviously, there are other things to look at, lesson 2, lesson 3, and onward, and so on. But if I told you them all now, your brain would be like, oh my God, I can't think of all that. It needs to be maybe 2 setup changes, so static changes where you're not moving. It's a lot easier to make that. If I said, put your left foot forward or right, you can kind of just do that, or move your left hand here. When you're not swinging a metal object at 60, 65 mile an hour, you can make adjustments, okay? When you're static, it's a lot easier to move something back and forward, just tilt further over the ball or loosen your grip pressure. So we're able to get away with a couple more sort of static changes, well, sort of the setup with grip and stance, etc. But once that club gets in motion, you think about that golf, when it starts at kind of, where does the swing start there? About, well, I guess, just under 1 second on that clock there, and you're making contact just after 2. So it's like just over 1 second of thought. What can you really think of in that time? Not a lot.
Not so much.
Exactly, yeah. Very few of us going to think of much in that thing. So all your thought is now is maintaining that width in the backswing, getting that. So we can work on that. As I said, and again, dash, it may sound, anytime you find yourself, let's say, twice a day brushing your teeth in front of the mirror, just do it. Just get that left arm, just feel that movement. Okay, just get the feeling of how that left arm. So once you feel it kind of in here, the kind of muscle memory will improve because you're doing it on a regular basis. You've done that move 20 times, and you've gone from that to that. If you think, okay, I'll do it twice a day for 2 minutes, you're probably in that time you might do it 15 times. Well, that's 30 times a day over 28 times a week, that's going to be a lot of times in there. Over a week's movement, that's going to start feeling, I wouldn't say natural, but certainly a lot more comfortable. And the one thing it will do as well is actually create a lot less thought to do it. At the moment, you're in what we call a sort of conscious, competent area of learning, okay, with this manoeuvre, okay. You can do it, but you've got to think about it. So therefore, we need to wait till you're in a position where you can do that without really thinking about it. So therefore, we can change your thought process to something else.
Okay.
If you change your thought process to something else, you'll default back to what you're used to doing. And then as much as you might be trying to do this thing on the way down or the thing on the way through, if you're not doing this first correct, it's not going to work anyway.
Yeah.
Just piecing bit by bit, okay? As I said, keeping the width in that swing, keep the hands and arms away from your chest. That's, to be fair, from first lesson there, over 100 yards with your last shot. Very, very impressive. I don't want to jinx it if you haven't missed a single shot yet. So that's very impressive, okay? And you're getting the ball up in the air. And for the most part, it's going fairly straight and going quite a long way. So in some ways, in almost like lesson 1, you've kind of done little bits and pieces of lesson 4, of also level 1 to 4.
Okay.
Obviously, as we progress through them, it's going to be the level 5, which is sometimes almost, it kind of goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because to get to that level, people are still playing golf for years and years and years, still developing that distance control. How far does this club go? How far does this go when I swing the club this far or that far to basically get the ball in the hole?
Now,
Okay.
for the shoulders positions,
Yep.
do you see a significant difference though? Do I go like far
In
enough on the
terms,
sides?
oh, more than 5, yeah.
Yeah.
That to me, I think at the moment, that backswing is certainly long enough. It's not short, so you're going to lose distance because you had a good shot there, went over 100 yards. That's fine. Okay. The contact was not as good as it potentially could have been. And in some ways, some of the things on the downswing and through swing you're doing are going to limit the power slightly. We'll discuss that obviously in that lesson 2. But in terms of going from there now, if you can focus on that width, so the torso and the shoulders you can see are turning. If you compare that kind of that movement, that's just an arm lift, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just picking the club nice and high, just pick up, pick up, pick up. That's the movement there, okay? So you've got twist in there with the shoulders and the torso, okay? That's a much better movement, okay? So grip-wise, very, very good. Gripping in the fingers, the overlap grips seem to be something you seem comfortable with. We can sort of play about with that, but I generally stick with one if you can do.
Yeah, let me try again.
And I think the spine angle is more the lean. So make sure it's in the... For some ways, a lot of people find it easier if you hold the club up, like so. Now grip it there, okay, with your left hand on first. There you go, to bring your right hand on.
Yeah.
There you go. And your right thumb kind of sits on there. Again, nice and right. So these fingers... Yeah, perfect, there you go. So all the fingers now you see are nicely in line there.
Yeah.
So sometimes guys find it easier holding the club. Now to get the club on the ground now, you will have to lean forward a little bit more to get it. Because you don't want your arms to be straight up in the air here, the club needs to point down there. So just doing that now, by me pushing the club down, you're leaning over more, aren't you? Yeah? So there you go.
That's naturally like
Exactly. So a better grip will kind of in some ways coincide with a better posture. So
you said there was 2 possibilities.
yeah, you can do that one, or you can do that one if you wanted to, okay? Or that finger opens out there, and it just locks into this finger will sit kind of in there like that, okay? And generally I think that for me I think works better. Sounds a bit sexy, but more so with men because they've got bigger hands generally. This often feels when they've got bigger hands, it seems a bit like the fingers are sort of rubbing and they're moving around. That to me seems a bit more of a secure grip. It's closer to that with a bit of a connection, okay? So me, but a lot of times on a personal level, that's what I use. It doesn't make a difference. I mean, the best golfer in the world, or the last 2 generations of the best golfers in the world, have both done interlock. It's not right, it's not wrong, it's personal preference. But it's like football players being...
The top part needs to be really...
Yeah, it would just be, if you hold the club there, so hold the club on your left hand again there where you were. So this part of the hand now will be, at the back end there, so there you go, that's fine. So the fingers are slightly on the edge there, as you can, there's a bit of a gap there with your fingers, because your hands are on a slight angle, okay?
Okay. All right.
There you go. Does that make sense then, yeah?
Yep.
Good stuff, okay.